I started with the board in 2010. I definitely wouldn't have said I planned to be here for 13, 14 years coming up. I'm not going anywhere because I love this museum. I love to see all the things that we've done and progressed and changed and added over those years. What we're trying to do is engage our youth so that it passes on for generations. When somebody understands where they came from and how hard people had to work to create what we have, you appreciate what you have just a little bit more. And if we don't tell the story, the youth aren't going to know.
I think one of the difficult things for local museums, particularly in smaller communities, is to actually attract the local people to come because they think they already know the history of the community. Charles Melville Hayes was an interesting fellow. The city's been named after him. He was really keen on Melville and he was involved with the Grand Trunk Pacific Railroad. He saw Melville as a center of rail transportation in Western Canada, the prairies. He was quite involved in getting the City Hall built here and a number of other things. Went to Europe to do some fundraising to continue the expansion of his railroad and was one of the people that died on the Titanic when it sank on its way back from Europe. We have on display here a sealskin coat that was actually belonged to Charles Melville Hayes, and it's just part of the history of what Melville is.
It's important for us to tell the story and the evolution of how we got here. We have things that show the progression, show the evolution, and tell a story. Each floor has all themed rooms. In the basement, you go through all the different railway memorabilia, different artifacts and things like that. And then you move up and through the tool room, the toy room. We've got classrooms. Our newest one is going to be a general store, which is going to be a cool way to feature some things and understanding our history and how we got to where we are today.
If we don't know where we came from, how will we ever figure out where we're going? When I worked at St. Paul Lutheran Home, I put the first fax machine in there, and we thought we had technology. When I was a kid growing up on the farm, we didn't even have electricity. I think it's important that we can look back and say, oh yeah, this is where we came from, to form the base for our society today. I retired from my career in 2010, and my wife and I, we decided we wanted to get re-engaged with our community, and when we traveled, I wanted to go to museums. I reached out and came on the board in late 2010, and I love the place. I love what it does. I love what it represents. The sod turning for this building occurred in 1913, and it became the Lutheran Academy, which was a Lutheran university, and it operated till about 1926. The building became one of the very first Lutheran nursing homes in Saskatchewan and operated till about the mid-70s when it became deemed just unsuitable for caring for residents. This building was actually declared a historical site in 1981. The museum board actually started functioning in 1983. It just grew from there. Right now, we have just over 13,000 artifacts on display.
What we are looking for are things that pertain to our area, that have a tie to local people within our community or surrounding area, and things that tell a story.
We ask them to fill out a form, and we ask for the history. Just because something is 80 years old doesn't necessarily mean it has any historical value. Every community has its own history. I think it's important for communities to be able to preserve things from their past so that as the different generations pass through, they have an opportunity to understand how we evolved.
We are here to preserve history, to tell a story, and engage with our community. The days of just being a museum and having your doors open and people are just going to flood in is kind of a thing of the past. We have to find ways to reach out, engage, and get them invested in the story. When people walk through a museum, they don't want to just look at things. They want to be able to relate to it.
The best way to learn about the Melville Heritage Museum is to come through the front door and take a tour. We open mid-May. We stay open till end of the third week of August. We're open from 10 to 5, 7 days a week during the summer. You can get a hold of us through our Facebook page or email, and there's numbers on the door. If people want a scheduled tour during the winter, we're quite willing to undertake that. And the people that first came out here, there was nothing, right? They started with nothing and were pretty isolated, to the point where today We have constant communication because I think 99% of us carry smartphones. And I think it's important to be able to just identify those sort of phases through our development as a society. And this community, like all communities, have sort of local heroes that have gone on and been very successful in whatever they've undertaken, and I think it's important to remember them as well. I think it tells who we are, where we came from, and we can't wait to see you.
If you have program ideas you'd like to see on maxTV Local, let us know at SaskTel.com/local.